All right, drove it around yesterday, July 4th, after setting the governor and fiddling with the carb. Uh, Ran fairly decent, ran good actually. The exhaust valve, it had a little backfire out once in a while out of one cylinder, and had put a new sediment bowl on there, which leaked like a sieve. The shut off didn't actually work, so I returned it this morning. They're getting me another one this afternoon. So in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and pull the gas tank, pull the valve cover, and check the valve adjustment, make sure it's all right. Starting wise, other than somebody forgot to tighten brush screws in the starter, one of them came off, and pulled the starter off to check it. Nothing, just dead, wouldn't move. Pulled the cover off. There's a wire sitting there, brush gone somewhere. Found the brush, didn't find the screw. It might have fell out when I took the end cap off, but fiddled with it a little bit. Got the brush holder back in there with the brush and a screw I had laying around, luckily. So I'm going to pull the gas tank now. I already got it loose since I had to drain all the gas out of it anyway to replace that sediment bowl. Time to do it. And got to finish flushing out the ass end. It didn't have water in it because I just drained the rear. Didn't have much water in it at all. It wasn't milky. I drained the front though, and it was just milky as could be in the front. So drained all the diesel out of it that I used to flush it out. Probably flush it out again. So I'm gonna pull this gas tank off here and check the valve adjustment. More later. Okay, well, at least one of the valve cover bolts was tight. The front one was loose, and you can see it's leaking like a sieve up front. I mean, it was like not even finger tight. In fact, I didn't even put a socket on there. I just twisted it off with my hand. Take them washers off of there. See how tight this thing is on there. Oh, it's good and tight. We got some kind of mess over here. Look like mice or somebody been trying to build a nest over here. Yep. Little mousy poos. At some point in time. They're gone now. And that's our valve cover off of there. It's not too crusty inside. Needs a good cleaning. It'll get a bath before it goes back on there. Let me check out my gasket here. Gasket's actually still pliable. That'll be clean and be able to reuse it. Alright, let me pull these plugs out of here so I can spin this motor over. We're in there checking the valves. Had to find my feeler gauges. I really need a service truck, man, to put my tools at. I got stuff scattered everywhere. It's kind of hard when you're doing stuff on the run. You got tools here, tools there. I need a service truck to keep that stuff organized because it's just easier. I'm used to working in a shop where I have everything set up perfectly where I know it is and where I want it. And when you have to go out on service calls, doing stuff, working at home, working at somebody else's house, etc. You always forget something or you got stuff misplaced. So got a couple of tight ones in here, a couple of loose ones, a couple of tight ones. I'm doing this cold, so we're gonna set them about 15 thousandths cold. One of the exhausts was really tight. That's probably the one that was making a little puh out of the exhaust every once in a while. So I'm gonna finish adjusting these. Waiting on gotta take my son to work in a little bit and then swing by the Napa and pick up my replacement sediment bowl that was leaking out of the fuel shutoff. Didn't work. It'd just sit there and drip and drip and drip. All right, more later when I start getting it back together. And across the board there, if you do like a go, no go with the 14, the 15, and the 16, so 14 goes in really tight, and the 15 you got a little bit of drag on it, you should be good. 16 is just going to be a little bit looser, which is okay on the exhaust side, but try and get them all about 15. I finally found my correct feeler gauges. I use these diesel injector feeler gauges. They're a little bit longer, a lot longer. You can get them in just about anywhere you want. I've had these ones for probably 35 years. I only use them for certain things. I bought them. I don't use them for diesel injector feeler gauges. I use them for stuff that I can't really get to with normal feeler gauges. They come in a standard like 2 to 25 thousandths thickness, something like that. I got them all taken apart. They usually come in a big sleeve like everything else, but I leave them loose because it's easier to work with them that way. If you can get a set, they work for a lot. I think I got these originally to do checking cam bearings on a Harley Sportster end play, because you had no way to get in there and check it with a regular feeler gauge. These things fit right down the tappet blocks perfect. Had them ever since. Use them for all kinds of stuff. Like I said though, after having to look for stuff, I got my eye on a couple of service utility trucks just for the tool bed to have on there. Hopefully a guy's supposed to call me back today with one he had off an older truck. He's selling the truck and the service body. If I can get it, I'll be happy with it. Probably. The truck needs some work, but so what? It's worth the price of the service bed alone what he's asking for the truck. Alright, I'm going to button up this, clean up this valve cover gasket, and like I said, the cork's still pliable on there, so it's usable. And it was dumping oil out the front of the motor there because that one was finger tight. Now when you're putting these on there with the cork gaskets, you don't need to really clamp them extremely hard. You'll end up squirting the gasket out, and you really shouldn't need any sealer either. Most people put sealer on there wrong and it ends up just shooting the gasket out because it's too slippery. I like a cork gasket. A lot of people like neoprene because that's what they sell now. If you can get cork, use cork. They work good for a long time. Just remember that you can't really over torque the things or you'll end up splitting the gasket or spitting it out the side. Alright, let's button this thing up. It's getting a little warm out here. Bees are bothering me. I still got bees in this thing somewhere. Wasps. I think they're up under here, under the box here. They buzz me a couple of times a day. Haven't got stung yet, but I've already sprayed a bunch of times around there. Evidently, they're not taking the hint. But we'll see. Let me get this thing back together. I should be able to go pick up my sediment bowl here in a little bit. He said about 12. I give him a little bit extra time. They had it at another store. They have several stores here that are owned by all one guy. If one store doesn't have it, another one usually does. And it gave me a chance to tighten up the water pump alternator or water pump generator belt here. It was pretty loose. I couldn't spin the motor with the fan. Just tighten that bad boy up. And I can get to that front governor bracket there. It's missing the pin on it, and that pin's locked in there pretty tight. I have to try and loosen that thing up so I can get it out. I need to adjust the length of the rod here, which I need to adjust a little bit. The idle RPM is good. The upper RPM needs some work. It's only hitting about 1700 RPM. So I need to adjust that up to about 2200 RPM. If I can get this pin out, it's stuck in there pretty good. It's missing cotter pin anyway. But I'm going to see if I can get that thing out sometime today. It's getting a little warm out here. All right, thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm not a professional tractor guy. I'm just messing around with this thing. All right, if you like my content, subscribe, like, comment, share, all that jazz. If you don't, oh well. It is what it is. I'm an adult. All right, let's get this thing together. Thank you. Bye-bye.